question I want to address. It's been brought up to me 2 different times, and I've talked about this. The semi-truck traffic going down the alleys to get to the newspaper, Freeman Journal, and what is the status, or where are we at on that? Because we've talked about that 2 different times, but I was asked again where we're at with that.
I met with Terry Christensen here only a week or so ago, but his boss finally came to town because they've changed bosses or something, and we still haven't come up with a concrete answer as to what to do with that, because his boss, I think, put the kibers on what we originally. I think Matt did a study on it, and he doesn't really like that idea much of us tearing that hole from the corner out. Is what we're going to look at doing, and turn the trucks right there in their front area. So now I think the question is whether we've got to try and, we have another plan, but I don't necessarily want to bring it up just yet.
Yeah, like I say, I've been asked about that.
But yeah, it's still,
Since
what they're
first
doing
year,
at the moment
yeah.
is definitely not an answer, so it's not a solution, that's for sure, because we're going to all pay eventually, because all those alleys will be destroyed, so. Anyone else have anything?
I have some items, but I think it's more fitting under council committee reports. It's pertaining to the Youth Advisory Commission, so I'll talk about it then.
Okay. Item 1 is public information, which we pretty well just did, because I don't think I have. I guess the East 2nd Street's open tonight. I don't know. I mean, not East,
West,
but
yeah.
West James Street is open tonight. So finally, so after you leave the meeting, you can go out and wear it out for us. I think everybody else is out there. No, there wasn't any ribbon cutting.
I would have delayed it.
I think someone was talking about having a party out there tonight, but I don't know. And then if you've been down Beach Street, you can see there's a new road runs off of it. So Fairmeadow goes out onto Beach Street. But of course, it's not open. But
Is that going to have a median in the middle, cement, or just grassy?
is it grass? Yeah.
Right?
Following items have been, item B, the following items have been deemed to be non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or a member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We have items 1, minutes of July 17, July 24th and August 1st, 2017. Resolution on payroll for period ending July 22 and paid on July 28th, and a resolution on bills and the funds list. How would you like to?
I'll move to approve 1, 2, and 3 collectively.
I'll second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item C is general agenda. Recommend approval of issuance of beer and liquor licences by the Iowa Department of Commerce for the following. A, renewal of Class C liquor licence, outdoor service and Sunday sales for TK's Tavern at 723 2nd Street. And a renewal of a Class C beer permit and Class B wine permit and Sunday sales for Shopco Hometown, number 564 at 200 Red Bull Division Drive.
I'll move to approve A and B permits collectively.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 2 is resolution directing publication of gross wage salaries for full-time and part-time city employees for the calendar year of 2016.
Sure, I get
Pretty self-explanatory.
this is an annual requirements under state code to publish the gross wages for the calendar years. So, yeah, any specific questions for that?
Routine thing we do every year.
Yeah.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 3 is a resolution authorising the Mayor to execute an election to participate and release agreement for pursuant to the consent order entered into by the Iowa Insurance Division and Two Rivers Insurance Company.
This is a settlement essentially with our insurance carrier. There were some costs that were included that were lumped into the overall cost as opposed to being broken out as required by the state. This was, from what I understand, a 3-year investigation and process to reach the settlement with the state and compensation thereof to the members who participated in it. Now, our amount of roughly $9,000 or $9,800, I think, reflects both the size of our group as well as the longevity of our plan. There are some other government entities out there that have much larger settlement payments, but for us, $9,800 is what we're receiving. And the council does have the option to reject the offer and pursue other legal means, but given the size that we're receiving in comparison to the cost that we would incur trying to fight this, I recommend you just accept the settlement as presented. Obviously, as noted in the memo, you can see the savings we've gained with being part of this membership versus our previous insurance structure.
Very good.
Question? Call for motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 4 is a resolution approving change order number 1, increase in contract amount of $71,211.30 to the Brewer Creek Estates 5th and 6th editions project with Wicks Construction Incorporated, Decorah, Iowa.
So this was changed. I'm trying to bring up the map to see if I have it clearly enough. But as we went through the process of developing and awarding the contract, we realized that we didn't include a trailhead as we I think initially envisioned to tie in the Brewer Creek Trail with the Brewer Creek would be Brewer Creek 5. And so there's 2 lots in questions. We already had an easement, a utility easement in place for electrical infrastructure, and so there was a roughly 2 easements that we carved out, roughly about total foot length on those 2 parcels. Do you remember, Matt?
Just over 200 feet, I think.
And so we've separated that out and received the bid or asked the contractor for a cost to be able to pave that. Now, we wouldn't be intending to pave the entire trail from the trailhead clear to Brewer Creek. The goal is to get it from what essentially be West Cayman Drive down to Beach Street, and then over the next few years plan and budget to pave the remaining portion to tie in that trail to the parking lot at Brewer Creek on Beach Street. So there's already a couple other trailheads throughout the Brewer Creek subdivision to tie into it, as well as coming off of Des Moines, so trying to integrate that whole section.
So the reason we're doing this now and the rest later is because the crews are out there, it's an add-on, it's a bolt-on, if you will, and it makes it more cost-effective.
It also makes it a little bit better when we sell those lots off.
Yeah.
They're already
Yeah, we're-
aware that trail is already there.
We're trying to have, we wanna have the trail behind those lots constructed so that whoever purchases the lots understand that that's there. And they can either choose to purchase it, whether it's a plus for them or a minus, they have that option with the understanding that it's already there. It'd be a little more complicated if we were trying to go back and one, obtain the easements, but also to do the construction portion of it thereof.
I see some disapproval in the audience, and thank you, Becky, for voicing your concern on that. I actually live up by the other trailhead for the Brewer Creek path, if you will, and it has a ton of traffic, and it's actually encouraging to young kids and families to walk and use it. So I would like to tie in the paths as much as possible. I know it's another.
Then they can turn around and go back.
What's that?
They get to the end of your cement, they can turn around and go back. Got enough expenses, it seems like an awful lot of money.
Sure. No,
You're going somewhere else.
No, well,
Sidewalks on Fair Meadow Drive.
Well, the cost is gonna be.
oh, that's what, yeah.
The cost is gonna be incorporated to the overall cost of the project and recouped through the sale of the lots or the tax instrument financing of it,
I
so.
don't know, it's always incorporated.
and I believe the estimates we set in front of us 2-3 years ago when we were first talking Brewer Creek 5 and 6 were much higher than the actual bill of sale, right? Like we actually got it for much less than we expected. So really, I mean, granted, it's $70,000, still $70,000. It could go elsewhere, but we're still under what we thought it may be. a
We're
couple
one
years
point 1 million under
Yeah.
what was proposed.
I have a real concern with this, and I hadn't talked to Becky, but my concern is with it. I mean, we got streets, we got sidewalks in town going to the Dickens, and this is another 71,000. If we want a trailhead, we've got the mulch down at the landfill, or the city where they mulch at. Let's make a mulch in a natural trail using the bioproducts that come from the trees and not put concrete in. And if people want a trail, then they can do a fundraiser. But this is, I mean, this is just putting a Cadillac
So
deal.
wheelchair people shouldn't use the trail, is that what you're saying?
There, you said there's two other heads, so I mean, let's not play the silly.
I can use it, I can walk on grass, I can walk on mulch.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, you know, you say there's two other
I'll
access
be your
points.
guinea pig.
I think that we are in the 21st century. I think we could seal it. I mean, it's.
But there's other access in, for the people out there for a new addition, let's use the mulch and just make a wood, I mean, use a mulch trail. Good Lord. I mean, this coming out of the electric fund, that really looks great. Last month,
This isn't coming out of the electric.
well, they just said,
Being paid for by it's being paid for by the TIF eventually, actually.
But
By the sale of the.
what the memo
lots,
said,
paying for
it was, the money would initially come out of the electric, a loan from the electric fund. We just raised the electric rates. No, let's make it out of mulch.
Maybe we should do the street mulch too.
Well,
Make
that
them more
wouldn't be so
gravel as
bumpy,
well.
I mean,
It's not,
we
you know.
joke, but and again, I'm for the trail, but Jim brings up a good point. Have we looked in alternatives, material wise, or width wise, or build wise? Again, I want to see a trailhead, but Jim does bring up a point for cost effectiveness or other reasons. Have there been anything else explored?
Well, a concrete path, a fellow across the street from me he put in an asphalt driveway and whatever in his place 2 weeks ago or something. The cost of that is what his initial cost isn't less than his concrete.
You're talking us.
And he's, and he has to pay, I think it's $500 every 4 years to get it upgraded, otherwise it just goes goes away. So it's less maintenance for concrete than it will be if you asphalted it. Now, maybe they could asphalt it cheaper, I don't know.
Where we're talking about.
But what did you find, Matt? Is asphalt normally?
Generally speaking, industry standard, if you go and you try to compare apples to apples, it's very difficult to compare asphalt to concrete. However, longevity on asphalt is not as good as concrete is, so it's gonna last longer if we do concrete. There were other options addressed as well, and the engineer actually recommended we went 12-foot wide. We disagreed with that, and we stuck with the 8-foot wide. We did try to conserve costs, but ultimately it comes down to a maintenance issue and having the ability to clean that sidewalk or trail come winter months so people can still use it.
Is there? I'm somewhat familiar with the area, but obviously that's all changed now. It's been somewhat developed with grade and whatnot. Is the grade very dramatic in that area now that it's been plotted out?
It is relatively steep going down the area that we're talking about. That was part of the reason why the engineer wanted to go wider, but ultimately we just can't afford that.
Sure. No. Yeah, the reason I asked, I just didn't know if it was somewhat graded out now that it's been.
This area is actually just south of Lovelace's place.
Yep.
And then it jogs to the north of the new boundary for Brewer Creek 5. So it kind of escalates through that area. And once we get down in past Lovelace's place, there is an existing roadway down there that we're tying into that saves us some costs that way as well.
No, great points. And what we're saying is this $70,000 will be included in the prices of the lots in Brewer Creek 5.
That's correct.
So essentially, the people
5 and 6.
6 are paying for it too. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be carried out across the entire project.
The
Okay.
people who live there will be paying for it.
So
Eventually.
I was gonna say, because Jim does have a point. What if we just made a placeholder in a sense where we bulged it and then we came back and raised money or something for the neighborhood? But obviously they're gonna be paying for it eventually anyway while they buy the lot. But
There's gotta be some liability concerns putting in something that's an unstable path, right?
Well, we got plenty of those.
Yeah.
Plenty of sidewalks around town are unstable,
Yeah,
you know.
It's like, you know, it's like the river, the Brewer Creek, I suppose there's liability always that someone
Yeah,
can fall
fall
into the
in.
creek too, but.
Well, again, Jimmy, you're bringing up some great points, though, and again, I'm for the trail as long as it makes sense financially. So.
Yeah, I should have made it thicker, but the red outline, that red line is essentially the trail's path to connect from West Cayman Drive down to Beach Street, and so.
Where is that eventually going to go from the west area? Where is it gonna tie into?
That parking lot there.
That trail right there.
Oh, up there, okay.
so then they're gonna walk in the street to get to the parking lot?
No, they'll eventually have to put some
Oh,
more.
never.
See, the bridge there already
Is this a bridge to nowhere or a trail to
It's a
nowhere?
bridge to nowhere.
No.
Bridge already
Come
has,
to Webster
Bridge
City,
already
we
has
got
an
it.
8-foot
that bridge
wide
actually
sidewalk.
already has a sidewalk
Oh,
on it.
We'd be tying into it, and then eventually we'd be coming down this way,
Oh, cool.
away from the road,
Oh,
in order to get down and around back up to zone. Is what we've discussed.
No, neat. Yeah.
Called progress.
it's called a waste of money.
All right.
So it'll be in the 25-foot easement then that we're gonna talk about a little bit later?
No,
No,
the 25-foot easement is for water main.
Only.
Wow,
That's on Beach.
it's a utility
But
easement.
isn't it that same area?
No. The easement starts here and goes this way.
Oh, and you're just gonna go that way, okay.
Because I mean, it's hard to see, but those lots go all the way back there. Because we're shaving off the back part of those lots, right?
It's just two
Correct,
lots there on the edge
Yeah.
Well,
There'd
there's
be
three,
lot 8 and
two lots on the edge of the path.
that
Yeah.
go to
7
the
and 8
beach.
and 9, I believe is the
Yep.
easement.
Yep.
There's two lots on Beach and there's two lots next to the trail.
Correct.
Okay. So, call for a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 5 is a resolution approving change order number 1, increase in contract amount of $80,147.56 to the 2017 PCC pavement repair project with Jensen Builders Limited at Fort Dodge, Iowa. Daniel, wanna-
I'll bring up the map again. So currently, under the PCC pavement repair, we have some work being conducted on this street here. Due to the original estimates of how much we wanted to spend, and where the bids came in, we wanted to take advantage and do some additional repairs along this road that's desperately needed. This is a concrete replacement, and
What road is that?
Crestview Drive.
Oh, Crestview.
Matt, did they fix that corner going to Crestview? Is that what they just did?
Actually, we ran out of funds. If you look at this area here, 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 and there, those areas of where people put in new sewer and that kind of thing, and those areas have settled out pretty badly, and that's really why we focused on fixing this coming into a new street. I mean, we're putting a brand new street there, and then we've got these, you can see the differential settling here. Right there's a trench where the asphalt's basically concaved on itself, and it just looks poor going into the new structure, or the new subdivision that way. The other streets leading into it are not as bad as this one, so that's why we focused on it.
We would eventually have to come back and refocus or come back and redo some of this work, and so while we're working on that now, we wanted to try to address the issues.
Correct.
This is addition to the work being done right now on Moyne Street,
Correct.
which by the way looks great. It was a pain, but it looks great and rides great.
And now they're at
Fair Meadow.
Yeah, it'll be a Fair Meadow block.
in Des Moines,
Yeah.
so.
They have one lane open, I believe, though,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Well, they
because
have
they
to.
have to get out where you get, yeah. So.
It always gets worse before it gets better.
Right, right.
Okay, call for a motion to approve the change order number 1.
Move to approve.
I second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Switch the
Opposed?
street.
Same sign. Motion approved. Item 6 is a motion authorising Public Works Director to execute city easement conveyance and City Council to accept easement conveyance in connection with the utility project for water main on the east side of Beach Street on Lot 8, Brewer Creek 5th subdivision. Did you want to do Lot 8 and 9 right now? Because 9 will be the next.
So essentially, we're just trying to, as part of future plans, to extend the water main and connect it to Brewer Creek, so we would come up from north, roughly around Wall Street, in the future to extend water service down to Brewer Creek. It currently has water service, but it's not looped, and so we're obtaining the easements on that parcel so that we have access and be able to bring that at a future time.
Because that was a big part of this Brewer Creek 5th and 6th, wasn't it? So we could loop all the water and.
Yeah.
Anyone who lives out there knows that when Lanny goes out and he does his hydrant flushing, they all pretty much lose all their water pressure. And this loop is an attempt to try to resolve that.
Okay. Call for a motion, approve item 6.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And then we have for item 7 is a motion authorising Public Works Director to execute city easement conveyance and City Council to accept easement conveyance in connection with the utility project for water main on east side of Beach Street and on Lot 9 of Brewer Creek 5th subdivision.
Second verse, same as the first, right?
Same as, yep.
So I move to approve.
You get a second? Brian?
Second.
Yeah, you pick one. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion approved. Item 8 is a motion on request from the Inspection Department to purchase a pickup from the state bid program. Is our pickup wore out?
It's it needs some attention, but we're faced with, a couple years ago, the building inspection department had requested a new pickup, and it was placed on the capital equipment plan. Since that time, we've also are internally filled in a request from the wastewater departments. They currently have one pickup at the sewer plants and one pickup at the water plant, and so when one or both are out, then it puts a little strain on our employees to have to use their personal vehicles, and so so it's kind of matched up a little perfectly in terms of trying to repurpose a vehicle that could potentially still be reused by another department, but also obtaining a newer vehicle for the building inspector to be able to utilize. And so we've looked at the state bids and have looked at a Dodge pickup, as well as the installation of running boards to be able to suit our needs for that department.
Well, with the inspection department doing a lot more, putting a lot more miles on the truck, I see it fitting. Also, we'd like to have a nice, in good standing order and aesthetically pleasing truck when we go to a non-aesthetically pleasing and a nuisance property, so we're not hypocritical, right? So.
Doesn't the inspector haul a lot of stuff? Or I guess
Yeah,
other towns I see inspector cars. I'm sure they have trucks also because they're big towns, but I just wondered.
Yeah, we definitely utilize our inspector truck for more than just code enforcement or building inspection. I mean, we've utilized it for the city cleanup. We've utilized it to pick up small items or tree debris during after storms. And so we've talked about whether or not we look at a mid-size or a small SUV type to be able to use for the code enforcement, but the ability to be able to pick up items or haul items back and forth was crucial to sticking with the truck. The police department also uses it whenever they need to go down to the training range for qualifying or target practice or disposing and moving of other items such as evidence or materials that they have to use.
Maybe we should do this, at least like you'll probably use it 90% of the time. Do you feel a truck is what you need to do your job effectively?
A truck is probably more effective, just because going around picking up signs and stuff and
Sure,
things that,
yeah.
you know, people wouldn't want in the backseat of a
Sure.
car or SUV.
Oh, makes sense.
Bob, yes.
Okay, I don't quite understand the state
Bid program.
bid program. Why can't we go out here, and, we've
Webster
got
City Auto
two or
and-
three, places in town here, why can't the bids be local?
Well, generally, the state bid program, they come under a lot cheaper, but they can, yes. We can still ask the locals to
Depends
do it.
on how bad they wanna sell a vehicle out here at, the dealership out here too.
True.
So, have they been checked first?
No, and the reason why we looked at the state bid is obviously they have master, I guess, purchase agreements and do a large bidding process with not just Dodge, but all the major, Ford, Chevy. And so, our local, dealers have the opportunity to bid on that state bid contract, but, are unable to meet the pricing or the guidelines for that, so, this is by following the state bid process, and we've used it a couple times with a couple other vehicles or chassis, and it just alleviates the burden of bidding out a vehicle that separate dealerships may have different features or add-ons, and trying to figure out the apples to apples comparisons. And so, you know, where the state has already gone through the due diligence of the bidding process, we can essentially piggyback off of that to acquire vehicles for local and municipal governments. We can certainly go the other route of bidding that out, and it's just, you know, historically in the past, some of those vehicles have been over what the state bid price has come in at.
Well, you bring up a good point, Bob. You know, obviously, if we want to move forward with this, could we ask the local dealership to source a vehicle at the state bid rate?
Doesn't hurt to try.
Right. I mean, great point, really. I mean,
You always have to buy new, can't you buy a good used one? Some of those used ones are in pretty good shape. Maybe our used dealers would be
You're getting to the end of the year too,
Yeah, there
they
you
wanna
go.
move things off their lot,
You betcha.
so.
Do have a question though, Elise, I know she's our new inspector, but I saw Matt this morning out on the west side in his own pickup. Now, are you the only department that use that? Because you do inspections also.
Yeah, we currently, I guess, we currently have two vehicles parked out back. We have the code enforcement truck, and then we have a retired police Crown Vic, and so, but the Crown Vic isn't reliable. We've actually talked about disposing of that, and looking next year for an additional vehicle. So, because instances where Matt needs to be out on a job site,
Yeah.
and Melissa needs to be out on inspections, then we don't have a separate vehicle available for Matt or anyone else in the department to utilize. So,
Sorry, I'm there, done.
so on many occasions, yeah, you will see Matt or Ken driving their own personal vehicles to job sites where inspections are related to what they're doing on that project.
Okay, no, I was just curious because I know, when you say inspection, because you do inspection also. And that's why I was curious if that was one of the
Here's
same.
the current one.
Is it two-wheel or four-wheel drive?
Four-wheel drive.
so the city has an old Crown Vic, huh? It sounds like we might have to enter in the 2018 Demolition Derby. A city-sponsored car.
By the sound of it, it may break down halfway
Yeah.
through, but yeah, it's probably
You
good use for
may
it.
have to push it there, and it's just gonna be a punching bag for all the other cars driving around.
Okay,
So I guess I definitely want to see a new vehicle purchased for the inspections department. I would like to make the motion, maybe an amendment to this motion to talk to a local dealer first, with the knowledge of the state bid.
No, I guess to deviate from the state bid requires us to go out and do 3 bids.
Okay.
And so,
Well, can we just go to 3 local dealers, maybe like in the surrounding 30-mile
We
radius?
can do used. There's 3 in town.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Again.
I don't know where you're staying on that. You know, the used, I guess value to price sliding rule there, but I would like to see it go out to local bid in one way, shape, or form.
Is it gonna cost us more money to go out, because we'd have to bid, we gotta go out and bid, because we can't just
Yeah,
go and ask.
we're gonna have to,
You have to do those specs.
yeah, we're
The
gonna,
only thing is I did talk to Shimcats prior to the state bid, and their price on a Dodge truck was nowhere near what a state bid could hit. That was one of the reasons we looked at the state bid, just because as a local dealer, they couldn't even touch the state bid.
Is there ways, and again, I'm asking these just because I'm naive to the process, is there ways to set a maximum price, and if it's not met, we go back to the state bid process?
yeah, you can certainly reject the bids you get if it doesn't match the state bid
Sure.
contract. The hard part is you're gonna have to match your specs to what the state bid, permits. And so now they do have specs for both, I guess, for Fords, Dodge, and Chevys. So we can match what dealerships are available for that to make sure it's an apples to apples comparison. And if they don't come in under the state bid, then you reject them. The downside to that is gonna be, as we're dealing with right now, the dealer that has the state bid for this Dodge truck, they don't have one in inventory right now. So you're just pushing that back, however many months it'll take for them to get it in. And then I'm not sure on the state bid when they renew or restructure their state contracts. So depending how far we push it back, I don't think that's an issue, but depending on when the inventory is or when the delivery would be, if that would be an issue more so,
An issue of the price raising?
possibly.
Yeah, again, we gotta start giving local people shots and stuff, I mean, I'll eat, a few grand any day of taxpayer money if it goes locally. But again, it'd just be nice to see where we're sitting, and if one of the local dealerships or surrounding areas are willing to make a deal, great. They can have their little sticker in the back of the tailgate. Again, I think my motion does it work? I mean, does it make sense, or do you want me to word it?
Just repeat it.
Sure. Well, I motion to definitely seek bids locally for a vehicle for the inspection department with the knowledge of the state rate.
I would second that bid as long as we put a timeline on it, so we don't constrain the inspection department. I mean, if they get.
We're basically telling the local guy if he can beat this price.
Well, he said within 30 miles, so we got Fort Dodge, maybe Iowa Falls, see what else they got too, I mean, or Clarion.
I guess with
23.
the policy of local contractors, the 5% margin, you're talking about $1,100. So it just depends on, we'll spec out what the state vehicle is, and if they can come in within that price, then.
Well, then they'll come in front of us and we'll award it or not, right? Like,
But that's 1,100, that's gotta be for a local,
Yeah.
and I don't mean Clarion or
It's
Fort
local,
Dodge.
Webster
I
City.
mean
right
local.
now.
Webster City only,
Is there a Dodge dealer close within 30 miles?
Fort Dodge, but that 5% threshold wouldn't apply.
Clarion and Fort Dodge are both got Dodge deal.
Yeah, the 5%'s only, Lambie's would be the only one available, or,
Webster City Auto.
Web City Autos.
They're not a Dodge dealer.
No,
What's
they're
this
Chevy.
1,100 you're talking
the
That's
5%.
about?
5% of the $23,800 for the truck.
If we can collect bids by the next August meeting, we'd be able to make a decision then, if we just wanna go back to state rate or not. But again, I don't think 2 weeks are going to hurt us, but
I don't think we'd be able to get the bids back in 2 weeks. You're looking probably the first meeting in September at the earliest too.
And I get the sentiment, but I think we're gonna find out no one can touch this price. That's why it's where it's at.
23,000 for a pickup
I
seems
mean, if
pretty
I just
cheap.
Googled a 2018 Dodge pickup and
And
the
this
cheapest one started out at 29.
This isn't a standard cab. This is the extended cab.
Maybe you can get a 17. 16.
Well, they're giving us the 18 at the same price because they don't have it in stock.
no, I understand there's MSRP on vehicles. I don't think anyone's paid ticket price for a vehicle in their life. have, they've been bamboozled, but, I would like to see, and I don't think it's gonna, I hope your truck holds out for a little bit, I just think it's the right thing to do. And it needs to be more of a common practice to do that first.
That's fine.
And you're right, I probably will look at the data in 2 weeks to a month and go, oh, well, they're $5,000 higher, we probably should go back to state rate, but again, we don't know until we ask.
So you wanna amend the motion to seek bids locally?
As quickly as possible.
But I think we need to put a timeline on it, so the,
Yeah, I would ask to get the bids back by the next meeting. You know, and again, we don't need to tell them the state rate, I'm sure they can figure that out themselves.
What spec are you using for, can we copy the state spec, whatever you gave them,
I mean,
or whatever it is?
I've got the specs still of what we sent to Shimcats, so,
Okay.
yeah.
oh, you did send one at least to Shim?
yep, before we even looked at
Okay,
state
so I
bids.
mean, well then,
Thank you for doing that.
yeah, so she's done it, so, yeah, if you got the specs and take it down to Lambie's. I mean, just to, you know.
Yeah.
Do a quick look, I mean, if
Yeah.
it doesn't come to fruition, then we go ahead and move on it.
We'll just have to get the Chevy thing from the state.
Yeah, I'll just look at what the specs are for the Chevy bid.
No, very good.
Fire chief had his
I-
hand up when we were talking, didn't
You know,
He wants a new pickup too.
Dream on.
What do you drive, Chuck? Is it a Dakota or? Yeah,
What
okay.
year was that?
4.
An 04?
Well, you'll be probably knocking soon, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
his has less rust.
Did you have a comment or a question?
I did. Just talking around with some of the local places that do sell vehicles, just in curiosity, looking down the road,
Sure.
because that vehicle does need assistance also. We're gonna find they're not gonna be able to move or meet. I've already kind of had conversations with some of them on that, because obviously it'd be great to keep it local, but it's just gonna be, I think we'll find it out, but I hear what you're saying, that
Yeah.
at least we made the gesture.
Yeah, and sometimes the gesture is more important than the act.
You might get.
And on this, I think we need to start a habit of that, you know?
You know, the council just a few weeks ago, or a month or two ago, you guys approved the purchase for the Chevy Impala for the police department. That was off of state bid through Carl Chevrolet.
I know, so that's why we need to start the habit sometime.
Bob wasn't here.
And then just looking quickly on the specs, you know, for a Chevy truck comparable to the Dodge we're looking at, the state bid price for that Chevy truck is $26,300.
Chevy's more expensive.
Again, for the record, I'm not saying we're going to save money, I just think it should be done.
So I have Welch making the motion to amend the motion to seek bids locally with the state bid in consideration. And Talbot second.
Yeah, then if at least could take that, I mean, tomorrow, or just take a look at it, take it down and see what they can do.
Well, you can't legally do that, can you? We gotta put it to bid, or what is
You
it?
gotta put it out to bid. You gotta get 3 bids.
Because we can't legally just go and ask them and call it good. All right. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 9 is a resolution authorising the mayor, city clerk to enter into a municipal advisory service agreement with Northland Securities Incorporated of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in connection with matters related to the issuance of sanitary sewer debt.
We had the workshop last week on our wastewater treatment plants and the needs for, that are gonna be needed there. Part of what, the next few, I guess, phases would entail would actually start looking at the financial aspects of what such improvements would take. We've looked at, in addition to what those models or costs would be, how to finance it. The state has it's known as the State Revolving Loan Fund, the SRF program, which provides low interest loans to municipalities or local governments to fund water and wastewater improvements. One of the conditions of that program is the utilization of a financial advisor or a municipal advisor, as they refer to it, through the process. This was a new requirement as of 2015. as a way to just be able to ensure that council such as yourself you go through the due diligence and have a separate independent financial advisor that can advise them and assist in the preparation of the financial aspects of such projects. So there is the state program does provide $4,000 in reimbursement for eligible costs associated with it. And as we proceeded this, I received a couple referrals from other cities throughout the state of whom they've used for municipal advisor and cross-referenced that with the state list that they maintain on their website and that we were provided by DNR. We've worked with Northland Securities in the past on different financing projects, and so that they have a certain level of knowledge of the city, and they were included on the list, both in terms of what I received back from other managers and administrators, in addition to the DNR's list. So we reached out to them and began discussing with them, and they received a scope and costs for their services related to this project, which they propose $5,000. Obviously, if we would receive and recoup $4,000 back through the state program, then the overall cost as it relates to them would just be about $1,000. Any changes beyond that scope will come back to the council for approval if it exceeds a large amount. So for instance, if we start switching from considering SRF funding to general obligation bonds for whatever reason, then with a new scope of services or a new scope would be drafted and come back to the council.
Does everybody understand that?
I think I got all that.
It's in the packet.
I move to approve.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Next section is D, reports and recommendations for officers, boards and commissions.
Yeah, so I got a quick report for the Youth Advisory Commission. We met last Thursday in the afternoon, which is kind of an odd time. We had to do that just because the sitting members of the Youth Advisory Commission are just all over the place this summer, trips, vacations, band stuff. So anyway, long story short, I want to remind the public of the Youth Advisory Commission photo hunt currently going on that ends the first day of school. So if you want to participate, please get your photos submitted before August 23rd. Shortly thereafter, the Youth Advisory Commission will meet and draw 3 lucky winners of that event, consisting of a package, if you will, of a bunch of gift cards, coupons, and swag from local businesses. Several of them, they're listed on our Facebook page. I appreciate their support. And of course, the City Council donated 1 meeting's worth of their of our wage to the Youth Advisory Commission. So we're going to be awarding a $50 cash prize with that bundle of swag to 3 lucky winners. They wanted to keep some of that money back for future events. Again, you don't want to spend it all, so I think they made a very wise choice on that. Again, anybody that's currently enrolled in the Webster City school system is eligible, so anybody from Stratford, Northeast, whatever, if you're considered a Webster City student, you can still participate. Second, the City Council needs to start thinking of filling one of the middle school seats. At our meeting, we talked a little bit about recruitment of a middle schooler. That's 6th grade through 8th grade. Some of the Youth Advisory Commission members have applications. If not, you can pick one up down here at the Utilities office or online. So we'll have to maybe put that on our radar to look to fill that, because again, after school starts, Anna Atchison will be stepping down from her middle school seat. She'll be becoming a high schooler. And then lastly, so at our last meeting, we touched briefly on some goals the city wants the Youth Advisory Commission to either tackle or help with. So again, maybe just put in the back of your minds or in the front of your minds some things that you'd like the Youth Advisory Commission to be working on for the city, some things we need their input for. They have a lot of things in the funnel, things they want to bring to us for events and community items. However, we haven't really tasked them with much yet, so we should keep them busy. And one thing I just want to float out there, we just finished that nice pedestrian bridge over Lions Creek, and technically it has a name, the Lions Creek Bridge, right? But I think it could maybe use something a little more catchy, and I wouldn't mind council's advice on whether or not we should give that to Youth Advisory Commission to, as a goal, to maybe name the bridge, maybe have a ribbon cutting event, like we mentioned earlier. Something to think about, but that's just an idea I wanted to float out there. That is all for the Youth Advisory Commission. Any questions?
Pat, you want a bridge named after you?
It's on the way out to the radio.
Yeah.
But again, just kind of floating that idea of ideas to give the Youth Advisory Commission, because again, I want to make sure they're bringing ideas to us and creating events for the youth, but also we're giving them issues to tackle.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? Okay, item E is other items sent to council. We got Zach's report, if you wanted to.
Yep, if you guys have any questions regarding it, the big things, I guess, were the 2080 agreement that we entered into with the county regarding I know we probably don't want to talk about more road construction, but construction that eventually take place on Beach Street from Iowa Central out to the airport road. Because it's part county, part city, it's obviously more cost beneficial to work with the county and the city to do them all at once. So we're required by state law to enter into these agreements as to who's sharing costs, who's managing and all that stuff. I just looked at the docket, we have 3 cases, municipal fraction cases for court, and 5 abandoned buildings that are been sent to the court, wait court dates, so we're busy there. And just finalized all the plats for 5 and 6, for Brewer Creek 5 and 6. We have a few things left to finalize before we can start selling lots, but we're getting close.
So we have a total of 8 items
That have been
sent to the county court system?
Yep.
And we do not have court dates yet, or do we have a window?
We have one date set so far. One was set for initial appearance this last week, and we haven't got a date set on it. The one that's set.
Heard it's a ways out.
Yeah, April 5th of next year.
And I just know, and I apologize for bringing this up and pinging you on this. I just want the community to be aware that, because I think you can explain it better than I can, is that the reason it is out to April is literally, and this is what has been explained to me, and please elaborate, but is because of the taxation on the system with people needing court dates and stuff, and just it's overwhelming, right?
Right, that's exactly right. So when we take stuff to magistrate court, for example, when we municipal infraction will go to magistrate court. That's different than the abandoned property side. Municipal infractions, we have a magistrate per county, right? When you talk about district court though, where we go abandoned properties, we have a judge, we share judges with multiple counties. We have separate districts, we're like in District 2B, for example. And so they're only in your area so often, and to get on the calendar, to get a date, they're scheduling. I have another trial coming up, non-city related, that's not scheduled until next October, for a year. I mean, it's crazy. It's probably hasn't been like this that I can remember, but that's the problem. It's just they're overfilled right now with cases, and they just can't get us on. I mean, I had to fight. They wanted us not scheduled until May of next year, and I had to fight just to get an April court date.
So there's what you did to bump it to April. Is there anything else we can do to expedite the process or to bump us in line? No? Okay.
Yeah, it's both parties have to agree on a date, and obviously the other party doesn't want it to be any sooner than it has to be, and we're just arguing it needs to be sooner. It was March, April, or May, and March they threw out because of some surgeries and stuff going on, so it was April that we got on.
Well, keep up the good work, and again, I just hope the public understands that the court system is slowing this, not the actions of the city. So thank you.
Right. It's like I would say, it's a hurry up and wait process, unfortunately, where we're at. So we do everything on our end to get it to there, and then we sit and wait. That's typical.
Okay. Anything else come before the general hearing?
I move to go into closed session.
We meet in closed session for the purpose of holding a strategy meeting in connection with collective bargaining as authorised by chapters 2017 and 21.5 of the Iowa Code. So, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Sure.
Motion is approved. We'll have a 5-minute recess.